now we're going to deal with what happens if you have two radicals in the equation. And your objective to begin with is to get one of the radicals, one of the square roots alone, and then square both sides. So I'm going to take the square root of x minus 1, and I'm going to subtract it on the other side. So it'll read 4 minus the square root of x minus 1 on the right, and then 2x plus 1 underneath the square root on the left. Now I'm going to square both sides, and on this side it'll get rid of the radical. On this side, because of the subtraction sign, I've got to write it twice. Now, 4 times 4 is my 16. 4 times negative square roots of x minus 1 is a negative 4 times the square root of x minus 1. And then 4 times negative square roots of x minus 1 is negative 4 square roots of x minus 1. When I take a negative square root of x minus 1 times a negative square root of x minus 1, I get a positive. And since these are the same, it pops out as x minus 1. The negative 1 and the 16 gives me 15. These two come together because they're like terms, and I have negative 8 square roots of x minus 1. And this x I'm going to subtract off over here, and I'm going to get x plus 1 is equal to 15 minus 8 times the square root of x minus 1. So I'm going to get this radical alone, this square root alone. Subtract 15, subtract 15. And let me rephrase that. I'm going to get this term that contains the square root alone. Okay? And I've got x minus 15 is equal to negative 8 times the square root of x minus 1. So now I can square both sides. I have to write it twice. X minus 14 times x minus 14. And over here, negative 8 squared is 64. And then the square root gets squared. So now it's x minus 1. I multiply this out, getting x squared minus 28x plus 196, and that's equal to 64x minus 64. Second power, gotta set it equal to 0. So I'm gonna bring these both over as their opposites. So negative 64x and a positive 64. So I now have x squared minus 92x plus 260 equals 0. I'm gonna use the quadratic to be able to solve this. So take the b, take its opposite. So I have positive 92 plus or minus the square root of. So now I'm going to work with the discriminant. I have negative 92 squared, and again in parentheses, 4 times 1 times 260, all divided by 2. I have 92, and then I worked this out, and I got 7,424. All right, I got to break this down. So 7,424 is 2 times 3,712. That's 2 times 1856. That's 2 times 928. 2 times 464. 2 times 232. 2 times 116. 2 times 58. And then 2 times 29. So remember, the square root's looking for pairs of 2. So I have a 2, I have a 2, I have a 2, and I have a 2. For every one of those groups of 2, 1, 2 comes out. So I have 2 to the 4th power, which is 16. I still have the 92 and the 2. That's a common denominator, so it belongs to the 92 and it belongs to the 16. 92 divided by 2 is 46. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So you have 46 plus or minus 8 square roots of 29. All right.